This episode and the entire season is sponsored by California Cryo Bank. Use code LOVEISLOVE for a free level 2 subscription to their donor catalog. And then come tell me about the babies you make. Thank you so much.
Love is love on the Queer Family Podcast. Love is love.
And they are straight up clones of us. Like, they're like, what donor? He clearly was like an oatmeal blah person.
His genes were garbage because my kid looks just like me. Like, my bio kid and her bio kid looks just like her. It's crazy.
Welcome to the Queer Family Podcast, y'all. The show all about family, but with gay. My name is Jamie. I'm your host, and you, my beautiful friends, are tuning into this show that celebrates, highlights, lifts up, and normalizes LGBTQIA plus families in all of our beautiful identities. And you are tuning into, as well, the second annual Pride Extravaganza. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. What does that mean? What is it? It means the entire month of June, to celebrate Pride, I am giving you double the episodes. So not only do you get an episode on a Monday, you also get one on a Thursday. And I have so many good ones coming at you, including this one right here. I got to sit down with the ladies behind the social media hilarity of two ladies and two babies, Caitlyn and Wanda. I'm putting it quote unquote because Caitlyn never actually calls her wife by her real name. And it's like a thing they have in their family, which you're going to hear about in this episode. It's hilarious. And we just dive deep into, how they met, their coming out journeys, as we usually do, and how they made their babies and the donor search and parenting in these straight streets, so to speak, and being boy moms. It's a really great conversation, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. And they're just funny. They're funny ladies, so check them out. And I just want to say happy Pride to y'all. We're in the middle of it. And if your life is busy like mine is, I'm here for you. I love ya. And I hope you are having a wonderful June and people are showing you all the love that you deserve. There'll be another episode this week as well, and it's a good one. It's James Black, the CEO of Family Equality, y'all. And we dive deep into some of the stuff that's happening right here in New York City, some anti-trans rhetoric that has been spreading through my school community, and I am pissed off. So you're going to hear more about that on Thursday. But for now, please enjoy this lovely, lovely episode with Caitlyn and Wanda. Two ladies and two babies. Jerson, Nicole, Helen, Beulah, everybody who works with me on this wonderful podcast, and only two of whom are actually real. Please roll that tape.
Queer Family Podcast. Love is love.
Hi, Caitlyn and allegedly Wanda, aka a million different other names.
Correct.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Oh my God, I am very excited for this interview because you two crack me up on the TikTok. I have a feeling we're going to be full of laughs and also full of really valuable information. That's my thoughts here.
Hopefully.
I think so.
So without further ado, you're going to give me your 30-second elevator pitch of who you are and why you're here talking to the Queer Fam Squad. On your marks, get set, go.
Okay, so we are two queer ladies. We have two kids. We've been together for 12 years. We do TikTok, and we are super funny. Most of it is my content of me harassing my wife and her receiving it, trying to dish it back, but not as quick as she could.
Not as
and
good.
I think that's kind of it, right? We have two sons, and we're hilarious.
We're pretty funny. I can't deny it.
We're just fun.
Listen, don't toot your own horn there. I think you're hilarious. I enjoy the two of you because you just make married life fun. And it's fun to laugh at your spouse and with your spouse.
Yes.
So it seems like you two have a fun time doing it. Now, okay, we got to go over the names here because apparently Wanda is not your real name, Wanda.
It is not. No.
And this is the whole shtick on the TikTok. If y'all don't follow these two on the TikTok and wherever else, you have to, because it's just a fun, their videos just pop up and make you laugh. So can we talk about the name thing?
Basically, my wife will just call me any name. And for whatever reason, I just answer to all of them. So no one actually knows my real name. Wanda's always been like the go-to. So that's kind of just like what I go by normally with people. she's done videos from our TikTok on it where she just randomly calls me and it's literally any random
I could
name.
be like Javier, and she's like, yeah.
Yeah, Geraldine, and I answer. And unfortunately, she's done it to our kids now too.
Yeah, our kids will answer to different names.
Any
too.
name?
Yeah, my oldest,
Oh my God.
mainly Remy, the oldest.
Yeah.
will answer to.
And this was not like a thing that just started for TikTok. Like literally the entire
This
time
has
we've been
been our
together,
whole
I've
life.
done this.
Yeah.
It's just what you do. I'm going to call you Wanda. Wanda and Caitlyn. Caitlyn, do you just go by Caitlyn?
I do.
Oh,
her real actual name, and that can be.
But is
Interesting.
it? Do we even know? Yeah, no, that's my real name.
let's take it back. Y'all have been together for a while now. And I want to take it back to when you met and tell me that story, if you will.
It's a very queer story.
So,
love that.
So
Yeah,
gay.
we were.
We love queer.
We were at a little hole in the wall we have here in the city of Richmond called the Village Cafe.
Good old dive bar.
Good old dive bar, yeah. And I was there with another girl.
Like a
and-
good lesbian.
Correct.
Mhm.
And Caitlyn was there to meet that other girl.
I think I was accidentally on a date with her and I didn't realize it because we had just met that day and I was actually seeing somebody who worked at that bar. And so I was like, oh, let's go there because then I can see that girl. And then I think when she realized that it wasn't like a date, then she asked if she could invite her. And I was like, sure.
Oh,
And then you showed up.
this is so lesbian.
So
I can't.
lesbian. Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is like textbook lesbian. Okay.
Yeah.
So then how did it go down?
Caitlyn just absolutely fell in love with me. So
Kind of true. Kind of true. Well, she came in and I was like, I mean, think about it. The queer population, like not everybody is your type. And so like to find somebody who's your type, especially in a smaller city where everybody's already hooked up with everybody, it's kind of hard. And so when she came in, I was like, I don't know, I'm very forward. And so I was just like, yeah, you're super
you grab my
cute.
hand and put your number in my phone.
Sure did.
What was the friend doing?
Eating fries.
Okay.
That's a good question.
You know, like
She
it's
was-
pretty common in the lesbian.
Yeah.
Pretty common in the lesbian
She
world.
just
We
No
chilling.
one was dating her. Like neither one of us were really dating
Not
her.
officially
Just,
dating anybody. Like we
No.
were just,
Yeah.
gaying around.
being lesbians.
yeah.
And then we found out we had the same birthday.
Yeah.
And so that was like kind of like the opening connection there. And then hung out a couple nights after that. And she tried to get me to go home with her. And I was like, no, I don't know you. And I went home with the other girl. And then after that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
This was like the second time we ever met. And then then we decided to keep hanging out. And then we made it official like a month or two later. Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't like a total U-Haul situation is what I'm hearing.
No.
No.
So you veered off the lesbian path. I don't know. It's a disappointment.
We did.
I know.
Sorry about
She
that.
tried to
Yeah.
U-Haul me because your apartment lease ended like right after we met.
My next apartment wasn't available yet.
Yeah. And I had an apartment, but I would make her bring her little suitcase in and out because I had never lived with a partner
Yeah.
or anybody that I was dating. And so I was like, take your little bag in and take your little bag out. Because I was like, I'm not about to do this.
Respect. Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Respect. That's hard. Well, I'm a U-Haul queen. So, Caitlyn, you went home and you were like, listen, I met this girl named Diana. And,
And Bridget is just beautiful.
and she's a keeper. Okay.
Exactly.
So how many years ago was this?
Next month will be 12 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It sounds like you both were living that gay life already.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when can I just ask your coming out? Like what was your journey towards coming out?
Yeah, of course. I actually, I was very lucky. I kind of grew up in a really open household.
Mhm.
I actually told my mom when I was like 8 years old, I was like, I don't really like boys. And she was like, well, that's okay. And I was like, no, Mom, look at me. Like, we need to make eye contact here. I was like, I don't like boys. And she was like, okay. And then she and my aunt were like in the kitchen and they just both kind of looked at each other like, is that what we heard? Yeah. Okay. And then later
That
on,
tracks.
later on in high school was when I like truly came out. My coming out story, I had a
good one.
I had a pretty good one. Yeah.
And where'd you grow up?
It's-
Virginia.
Yeah, right outside of Richmond, Virginia, about 20 minutes north of Richmond.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And Caitlyn?
Mine was a little messier. So I'm from Prince
Oh.
George, Virginia, which is a little bit south of Richmond,
Mhm.
but
Okay.
also like a pretty conservative area.
Uh-huh.
And definitely like no gay family members or like gay friends in my family circle. And so I told my parents when I was probably first year or second year of college, but I probably knew when I was like 15-ish. And then my parents were just like, no. And I was like, okay, let's not talk about this for a long time. And so my whole thought process was I wasn't going to even like dare to do it again until I was in a serious committed relationship where it felt worth it to do it, because I was just dating casually anyway. So it didn't really matter. And I didn't live there. So that didn't matter. And so after we had been together, we got our first house and my dad helped us move and just acknowledged like it just is what it is. And so had everybody over for dinner, and it was just like a very casual thing. And it just kind of like became obvious and just slowly trickled into something. And now everybody has a great relationship and it's been extremely positive.
Oh, so like you kind of like you came out and then didn't come out and then just was like, okay, I'm not going to come out, but
Yeah.
here we go. I'm sliding across the table to you.
I gave them a warm up, you know,
Yeah.
I just like, I put a couple sprinkles on the table and then,
Didn't go well.
Yeah.
Carried on.
Yeah.
Came back to the table.
Yeah.
And then just dumped it.
Yeah, because they
Right.
didn't really have an option at that point. What were they going to do? I'm like a whole adult person. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you either get on board or we just don't have to have that type of relationship. And I have a very good relationship with my family. So they just, I think, had to come to terms and accept and grow. And they have grown significantly. So I'm happy for that.
I
My mom
love
just
that.
knitted or made me a pillow that has like the pride flag on it and says love for my office at work. I was like,
Go
oh,
ahead, Mom.
go Debbie.
Oh, go ahead. Add a girl, Debbie. Come on.
She's coming
Go
through
ahead.
now.
She really is.
I love that. I love a good parent come around story. 'Cause
Definitely.
Lord knows we need them in this community. All right. So tell me, when did the conversation about family come in? Let's go there.
I think honestly, early on, we always knew we wanted to have kids. And so it was conversation that we had and both kind of agreed on, because I had been with people who didn't want to have kids. And then, you know, that was just kind of like a staple for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what was the conversation? How'd it go?
I think it was pretty chill, pretty normal. Like, I don't think there was like there wasn't like a big sit down or anything. It was just kind of
No,
like
just-
a getting to know each other type of
Yeah,
factor.
and we both kind of, I mean, not big families, but like we have siblings and they have kids. And it was just kind of always, we both always knew we both wanted kids. And it was just really casual conversation. It was more the marriage was more of the
big thing?
Yeah.
the debatable thing for me, just because I come from a really divorced family. But she talked me into it. So
Yeah. Very
We're here.
persuasive.
It sounds like it. I mean, you just get her to let you call her all kinds of names.
What
so,
options does
I
she
mean,
have?
Nice names.
Most of the time.
It seems like you're both in on it, which is what makes it so fun. Like if I felt like Caitlyn, you were really being mean to your wife,
Yeah.
I wouldn't enjoy the videos. But
People that are like
really-
that vibe, or like the people who like wake their partner up in the middle of sleep with like waxing their eyebrow off. Like that is disgusting and creepy
my
to me.
God.
Yeah.
there's some
Oh my
weird-
God.
It's usually the straights doing it, for being
Yeah,
honest.
it's
well,
true.
you know,
Yeah.
you know
But
those
no.
straights.
Yeah.
The
Choices.
non-queers. That's what I call them. I like to other them.
Yes.
So I call them the non-queers.
Non-queers, I like that.
But I think we've always tried to make sure that like both of us are on the same page with stuff. And like if we ever did anything and one of us didn't like it or didn't want to post or anything like that, like there's no like going behind each other and doing anything like that. Like we're always on the same page.
Communication and respect. We're not going to
Yeah.
do that to one another.
Yeah, my wife will let me do like my funny things, but she's like, don't show me. So it has to be like always my face.
Yeah.
Which is like
Yeah.
kind of awkward, but it works.
It's
It works.
kind of cool though.
I got to catch her in the right mood though. I don't have a Wanda, to throw bounce off.
Oh, Wanda's not always in that mood either. So like I have to be very strategic of timing when I mess with Wanda.
Uh-huh.
No, yeah. There's
Same.
times where I'm like, not today, babe. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yeah.
here for
Oh.
it today.
That's most of the time for my wife. And every once in a while, I'll see it. I'll see the mood, and I'm like, okay.
Here's our
What can I
moment.
do? What can I do?
Yeah.
How can I include her?
Move,
okay,
move,
here we go.
move, move.
It's funny. And then, of course, all the listeners love Anne better than anybody else in the whole wide world. So she's like everybody's favorite. So there's that too.
Oh yeah, she's the favorite of our channel, though she like doesn't actually come up with ideas or really participate all the time. Like I do
Yep,
all
just
of
here.
it. And the people are like, oh, Wanda. And like if I do
Yeah.
anything, I have to like, so I was messing with her in the yard yesterday and she's cleaning up dog poop. Love that about her. But I was giving her crap about it because that's what she seemed to like to do that day. But
Mhm.
everybody, I even had to put in the comments, I'm like, I have been outside for a couple of hours working in the yard,
People
laying
get-
grass seed, moving
People leave
mulch.
some comments or they're like, why
Why don't you get up and help her? I'm like,
Oh, Yeah. You don't know the whole story,
They
right?
don't.
There's people like to comment. That's what I
Yes.
noticed. And sometimes it's not wanted. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. All right. Well, we digress. I feel
Sorry,
like that's going to happen a lot. And I love it.
Yeah.
No. So it was a relatively easy conversation. So then tell me, how'd you make those babies? You have 2 babies. So tell me how it went down.
So we went with a fertility clinic. We didn't end up doing like the whole at-home thing because we just kind of felt like we wanted to make sure that we got it right. And I don't know, as a control freak, you'd think I wanted to be the one in control of it, but I was like, someone who has an education on this needs to do it. And they connected us and they connected us with the options for the different cryobanks, and we picked one, and we started like doing like the online surfing, and basically it was like online dating.
It's so strange.
I lovingly call this search the search for the superhuman.
Yeah,
because many of us, including myself, get crazy in this search. We start looking at all kinds of wild things that we would never look at in a partner.
Right.
Like,
No.
Right. So let's talk about your search a little bit.
God, it was
fun.
It was fun, but it was overwhelming for me because it was like just so many basically profiles is what you're looking at. You just like, you would find something and then you'd be like, wait, can I find something better? I know it sounds terrible, but like,
yeah, totally.
But we had to come up with our baseline too of what we were open to. Cause like even looking at us, I'm blonde hair, blue eyes, she's brown hair, brown eyes. And so we were like, how do we kind of decide, where to go with it?
Who was carrying? Like, did you know that you were both going to, cause you both carried at one point, but was that the plan originally?
That was the plan originally.
And then.
And we decided that you would go first because she's 3 years older. So we wanted to get those dusty eggs used up.
Yeah, there you go.
But after you carried, then I kind of wavered on if I felt the need to carry or not. And then she just assumed that she would carry. And then I was like, well, no, I want to.
I didn't assume. I just said, if we want a second one, I would obviously be willing to carry our second child as well. But I didn't want to take anything away from her if she wanted to experience that, or if she didn't want to experience that. If she didn't want to, it didn't matter. Either way, we were going to have kids together. They're both ours. So,
but this is also a thing in our queer relationships. Like when you got 2 uteri, as I'm calling them, you got to have a conversation. All right, who's going to do this? Whose genetics are going to be the ones that take over? Are we going to both get genetics? And my wife did that too. She pulled a switcheroo on me. She did the same thing because I thought I was going to carry. And no, she changed her mind.
So did she go first?
She went first because she's 7 years older.
Oh,
I'll do the thing.
We're just little children here. The young girl club.
Oh God.
Yeah, but she pulled a switcher, and then you have to Wanda, I don't know if it was hard for you. Yeah, because I was like ready, like they're going to be biologically connected to me because we can't afford reciprocal IVF. Forget about that.
Yeah.
So I was like in the mindset that, okay, this is the path we're taking. And then she flipped on me. And then I went through all kinds of crazy emotions over it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Did you have any? Well,
you're the most even-keeled person I've ever met.
I'm a little too even-keeled sometimes. I'm not like bragging, but like I don't really have much anxiety. I don't overthink things. I don't overanalyze things. I'm like,
I do all of that for her.
She does all that for me, basically.
Yeah, God
so
bless.
like I'm just a little bit more relaxed in that, especially when that came up. I was just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Fine.
You go.
Yeah. But even with like her carrying, I was super thrilled for that and like really, really happy for that. But I still had very open and candid conversations with her about, I wondered if I would have any attachment difficulties. So like professionally, my experience comes from the adoption and foster care side of the world. So that's what I did for work. And I was, really interested in like attachment and like, all of the different factors that play into that. And so hyper fixating and thinking and analyzing all of that. And then that little nugget got out here and I was like, oh my God, I would die for this thing instantly.
Yes, totally. 100%. That's across the board. Everybody I talk to, you love, of course we love these babies, no matter, but the places your brain can go and the worries that you can have. A lot of listeners reach out and say, I want you to like dig into this non-bio connection more and more because it really is a thing. And it's a thing that's really not talked about because it's so unique to families who have adopted or families who have foster kids and queer families, right?
Yeah.
And there's no space to talk about this, I feel like. So
agreed.
It is a thing that we should all talk about even more because my wife gave birth first. So I was like, I didn't have the experience of being a mother yet at all. And I didn't know what it felt like at all, the love. And I really thought I wasn't going to attach to the baby.
Mhm.
I was so scared. And it was a slow burn for me. It took me a while. It wasn't instant for me.
Yeah.
It took a while, which
Yeah.
is normal
It's
too.
so normal. And people don't talk about that. Even bio. So like, even when I
Yeah.
had our first son, I did not immediately feel that connection. In fact, I think Caitlyn felt it before I did, and it
100%.
worried me. And we had candid conversations about that. But even being the bio mother, like I thought something was wrong with me. And then I like start to talk to more friends and family, and they're like, no. When people say like, oh, it's immediate. As soon as you give birth, you're just going to feel connected. But that's not for everybody. I really had to kind of deal with that in my own head. And then obviously, you know, like you said, slow burn, I definitely became connected, and I'd do anything for that.
Was that your same experience when I gave birth? Because I think, in my opinion, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it took me a little while with the second one as well. Yeah.
Interesting. You know what? I think both of mine even took a sec, but my son was a little quicker because I had given birth and it was like tumultuous. It took me until like the next day when I was looking at him, and then I felt it. But that could be because it was my second kid.
Right.
And it was easier to switch on inside. I don't know. It's something that we should talk about more.
I agree.
For sure.
Yeah.
Show, especially in our families, because one person most of the time is not going to have a biological connection to a child, right? So, and we all deal with it so differently. So I think it's really, these conversations, they all need to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, but the sperm donor, so you, there are so many choices, and also you knew that, I'm trying to think of a different name to call you, but I'm just going to call you Wanda. Knew that Wanda was going to carry. So what would you end up doing? Like, how did you make the decision?
So our decision making process was literally, we would both look through the cryobank website. It's like literally like plentyofsperm.com is what it feels like. So you're going through, and we wanted to pick one that looked like either one of us, because we wanted to have the same donor both directions. But we just were like, if any of them look similar to us enough that we look at like the rest of it and it all checks out, that's what we'd go with. And this little tiny face pops by with these little bitty eyes and this little bitty head and this big ass smile. And it was her, but in like a little boy form. And so that's who we went with.
Yeah. And then we also fell in love with like his profile and everything about him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, that's how it happens. And did you buy a lot of sperm? How much sperm did you buy?
We
3
did
vials.
3 vials.
That's it?
Yep. So our
Holy
doctor had
shit.
recommended it go that way because he said you could have someone who just like genetically, y'all just don't really jive. And so I don't want you to spend a whole lot of money. So don't get super attached to this exact person at first and just give it a go. And so she used up 2 vials for IUI because we did once and it didn't work.
Yeah,
and then
second one
and it worked. And so when I came about, there was only 1 vial left, and we really wanted to have a genetic connection for the kids. And so they recommended that I do IVF. And so that's why we switched from IUI to IVF.
And then we got it on the first try.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Holy
first try, which we were like,
a,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
well, they tried to bait us into doing this like buyback plan where if it doesn't work, you can do it 8 million times. But I was like, I don't have a whole lot of cards stacked against me. I had some, but not a whole lot. So let's just do it and try. And then if we have to save some more money, because we literally refinanced our house to be able to do this. Yeah. And then we're lucky, like we had some people who gave us a little bit of chunk of change towards stuff, but like the big part of it was refinancing the house. Luckily, this was before the housing market totally changed.
Yeah.
But
very good timing for us.
But yeah, we got lucky. We were able to get, I think we had 6 or 7 embryos. And then the first one, it worked.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So I'm like so similar in so many ways. My wife did IUI and it was 5 tries and she was done. Oh. And then when it came time for me, we had 2 vials left. And so he was like, let's just go. You're young. It's going to just work. Let's do IVF. Didn't work.
Crazy.
Wow. Then it was 3 years of like, we had to take the sperm donor out of retirement at the bank, which they'll do for you.
Yeah.
If you have a child already and you want to have another, they will ask the sperm donor if he can come back for you.
That's cool.
Man, that's awesome.
That's cool. Oh, my wife did IVF because the IUI wasn't working. And the IUI was covered on insurance.
That's
and
lucky.
we didn't know that IVF wasn't.
Oh.
Until we went in for the retrieval. And then they slid the bill across the desk. We were
Oh
like,
my
That's so
God.
strange they would cover IUI, not IVF. That
I
is,
know. Well,
Well,
None of-
at least
none of
none
ours
of
was
ours got
covered.
covered. Yeah.
we couldn't prove, we can't prove that we're infertile because, we've been trying for years.
Yeah,
Nothing's coming
That's
of it.
what we always say.
Yeah.
Yeah, like God. If it was based on the quality of the sex, let me
Yeah,
tell you,
yeah.
we'd have a lot of babies.
Tons of
Exactly.
babies
But,
flying around.
Yeah, but like so these are the things like that we have to think about, and so we took money out of my wife's retirement. Thank God we had the privilege of having that
Yeah,
and being able
right.
to take the money out. But you are like the story if our plan had gone according to the plan, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Queer Family Podcast.
Well, this seems like a nice time to stop for a second and talk about my sponsor, California Cryobank. Now that we've done all this talk about finding donors and things like that, California Cryobank is what I use to make my babies, and they have been proudly helping LGBTQIA plus families fulfill their dreams of parenthood for more than 45 years. They offer one of the largest selections of donors out there. They also provide free vial transfer to be all inclusive of us queers between partners and so much more. Their customer service also, I'm just going to personal side note, is bomb. I used their customer service a couple times and they were so sweet and so wonderful. And I actually really do love California Cryobank, not just because they're a sponsor of mine. And I have a special promo code for you. You can get a free level 2 subscription to their donor catalog by going to cryobank.com and typing in code Love is Love. And then you're going to start shopping, and then you're going to make some babies, and then you're going to come talk to me about them. Okay, that's all I have to say. Let's get back to Caitlyn and Wanda. All right, enjoy. Love is love. Love is love. You can also use it for a discount on a level 3 subscription as well. So many choices. So many choices. Go make those babies. Okay, that's it.
Love is love.
So how far apart are your babies?
2.5.
Yep,
2.5 years.
That's what we wanted.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, how old are they now?
So our oldest Remy will be 4 next month. And then our youngest Van will be 2 in August.
All right. And it's 2 boys.
Yep.
Mhm.
And they are straight up clones of us. Like
Yeah.
they're like what donor?
Yeah.
He clearly
He
was
had-
like an oatmeal blah
Yeah,
person.
his genes were
because-
garbage because my kid looks just like me. Like my bio kid and her bio kid looks just like her. It's crazy.
My daughter and I, she's 10, we're just talking about this on the walk to school this morning.
Yeah, really?
She was like, Mom, Orion is like a clone copy of you. Like it's your face on a little body. And I was like, I know.
Isn't that cool?
I know. And I was like, and you are mommies. And she was
Yep.
like, I am? No, I'm not. I was like, yeah, yeah. But it is funny. My friends are like, your donor must have the most recessive freaking genes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're related, and it's like it's the dream. It's the closest we can get.
Yeah,
It's the closest.
yeah.
But can we talk about? Here's another thing, hot topic that comes up a lot. Did you find out you were having boys before you had them?
No.
Our thought process was we've already played with science enough because you can like decide which embryo to put in based on
Yeah.
that. And so we didn't even do like the genetic testing for any
Right.
of it because we were like, I've known people in my personal life who've done genetic testing and been giving like diagnoses of like trisomy, this and that, and then been urged to terminate and the child come out perfectly healthy. And so I just didn't want any additional pressures or stress or fiddling in our
Right.
whole situation. And you didn't either.
No, not at all. I also didn't care. I mean, either way.
Yeah,
I know
same.
You wanted boys.
I wanted boys because
But-
I love boys, and not in that
Yeah.
way. But I love little baby children. Men, I do not like in that way.
Well, but you're gonna have some too
Yeah,
someday.
I know.
Because this is another thing. And I did an episode like seasons ago where it was these women who are literally compiling a book of lesbians raising boys
Mhm.
and
Oh,
like
wow.
all the feelings that go with it, because I freaked the fuck out when I found out on accident kind of that there was a boy in there. And
there is
I'm
a
not
man
even
inside
kidding.
of me.
like I went through a mourning period.
Oh,
Like I was afraid, even you can tell how like fear-based I am because I've already told you about my other anxieties, but I was afraid even up to the point where he came out that I wasn't going to like him. Really.
that's fair.
And
That
I
is
don't even
fair.
have a bad relationship with men. Like
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
a thing, but I was like, no, I'm having a daughter.
Yeah,
I don't know. But you two were like, yeah, it's cool. I don't care.
I was cool with having either. I was happy to have a boy, but then I was like, can we at least have a boy and a girl? But Because I have a niece, and girls are so fun and smart, but they can be a little too smart.
We're raising two simpletons.
No.
two dumb boys, not a thought between their eyes.
They're smart.
They are very smart, like scary too.
Yeah, they are smart. But no, we didn't really care.
We did find out. Like we did like the little ultrasound thing to find out.
I wasn't gonna wait. I don't know how people do that.
Yeah, we're too impatient.
Mm-mm. It's hard. It's hard to wait. We tried to wait for both, but
good for you.
Couldn't do it.
Even the effort.
Honestly, the reason I found out for the one I gave birth to is because I was afraid it was a boy. I was like, I just have to know. Like I have to prepare myself.
Could you imagine if you gave birth and found out then that it was a boy?
Oh God,
you'd have been like, take it.
I don't even know. But and also in our community, we know how little gender really fucking matters, right? I know that, but I still had these weird feelings and thoughts. And
I think you might be part of a club that I'm in called Overthinkers Anonymous. So I think that you're part of the OA. So I'll let you know when we have our next meeting because that's
not
me
in
too.
that club. So.
I should come.
You're in the No Thinking Anonymous club.
Hey.
Listen, we all deserve a place in the world.
Exactly.
And maybe that's why I have this show, because I overthink every single freaking thing in the whole wide world. Everything went smooth. You've got these 2 babies. What's it like being lesbian moms out in the world where you live?
It's honestly cool over where we're at because we're close to Richmond. Like we live right on the border of Richmond, Virginia. Mm-hmm. And Richmond is known for being very artsy, very diverse, very rich with culture. And so we have no issues like when we're out in our community, like no issues at all. No. There's pockets of areas where you might get a glance. There's one thing that really frustrates me as a queer parent is when we're at dinner with our kids, both tending to our kids together, and then they bring the check and they say 1 check or 2. I'm like... And if it was a man and a woman, then it would never even be a thought. But it's also like a cool nod. One thing that happened to us, we were at like our local Target, which is like a little bit in the more conservative area. And this elderly white guy comes up to us. And it was when we had our first son. And he was really sweet to our son. And he's like, which one is mom? And that's the first time we'd ever been asked because he was born during COVID. So like you were barely going anywhere. Yeah. And we both just were like just looked confused about what to do. And he goes, or is it both of you? And we were like, oh, it is. Yeah. And I almost cried in the car. It was like, how validating and cool for his generation, especially like where they were coming from, and him to just pick up on that because we weren't like weird about it. We were just kind of stunned.
Well, even when we moved into the neighborhood we're in now, there's a couple that lives down the road, and we were just in passing. I think we were out walking or something, and they were walking, and he from the get knew that we were parents, that we were together, we were partners, and they were our kids. And that was just nice because you don't normally get that from, like, they might think, oh, sisters helping each other out, living together, right in the house. And he was like, immediately knew we were partners and we had kids. And it was just like, it was a really nice feeling.
Because that's the thing that we just deal with the awkwardness over and over. Like, oh, God,
you have to come out constantly when you're queer.
Yes.
And like, if you just exist, then other people are wondering about you or saying the wrong thing. And you have to like, even like with work, I will intentionally, if there's new people that I'm working with, I will intentionally say like my wife very early on to help them not put their foot in their mouth and decrease their uncomfortability, which is so dumb that you have to do that.
Yeah.
It is. And it's a thing many of us do. And it's really, and then once you have the kids, then it's like, oh shit, I have to model pride here.
Yeah,
so, like, cause there's times that you just don't want to come out. Like you're in a taxi cab and the guy asks, are you going to meet your husband? Like a lot of times I would just be like, but if my kids are there, nope, got to correct him. Got to correct him because I can't let them see any kind of shame or hiding or anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny. Like there was this one time, my daughter, this was an older woman too, and we were sitting waiting for something. And the older woman looked at us and she goes, oh, you two are the spitting images of each other. And she was 4. And she looked at me and she like giggled. And we had a look, and she goes, Rose, my daughter goes, that's funny because she didn't born me.
That happened to me at work recently. I had my oldest there, and this lady comes up who's new, and she's like, he looks just like you. I was like, really? That's crazy.
She doesn't at all. So
no, it's just her, but small.
Yeah, it's so funny, these things. So, okay, I have one more question. They're still young, so you might not have had that many conversations, but how do you plan to talk to your kids about the donor and have you, and the fact that they're donor conceived and all the things? What do you all do?
So we haven't done a ton about specifically donor, but just talking about like all families are different. And our friends, actually, their little boy goes to the same daycare as our son. It's a very small daycare, but they're a 2-mom family as well. So like he's gotten to see other 2-mom families and then like single moms or, you know, kids that have a dad and things like that. And so we've really kind of focused, I think, first on just like all families are different.
Right.
And he's not even 4 yet. And I don't want to necessarily like, I don't know that we're ready or that he's ready yet.
I don't think he's ready yet. Yeah.
Right.
But we will.
Right.
Like 1,000%
for sure.
And we found siblings. So there's the donor sibling registry. And we got matched last year with another lesbian couple that live in Canada. And they have 2 girls very close in age to our 2 boys. Oh. So our goal is to hopefully meet them. They're planning to come down in the fall. And so we'll kind of like see where everybody's at then and just kind of see what happens. But just kind of reading the room and kind of going at their pace, at the kids' pace.
Yeah.
You're from the adoption world, right?
Yeah.
Caitlyn, you know, and they said over the years, I've talked to a lot of people and I talked to this lady, I call her Lisa, the therapist. I love her. She helps donor conceived folks like all over, or donor conceived families.
Awesome.
And she talked about, it's like this thing in the adoption world, the drop the seed theory. And you just drop their whole lives. You just drop the seeds, the nuggets of information about, well, you have a donor, you don't have a dad, or however you plan to say it. And you have books that you read that include 2-mom families, and you have books that talk about, you know, donors and things like that. And the kids, it's just always a constant conversation. And the kids pick up the information when they're ready to hear it. And then it's never like this weird, awkward thing.
There doesn't need to be like a coming out to your kid about where they have come from. So we're kind of doing the same thing, like just little drops here and there. Some friends of ours kind of did a little bit more recently, and their son's a little bit younger than ours. And then they had even used the word dad, like this is your dad, and showed him pictures and stuff. And so then the kids started saying it, and then they were like, I don't know that we feel comfortable with this. And they kind of backtracked on it. And so I've learned from mistakes that I've observed from other people, and I just want to slow it down and let it kind of happen at a natural pace versus like these bombs, but these little trickles of information I think are easier.
And there's so many books that you can just add to your like bedtime library. That's what we did. We just read books, so we didn't have to talk about it. But like, but also I think you're bringing up a really good point. Is you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Right. You have to know. Like you have to know what you're going to call the donor.
Yeah.
And you have to be on the same page about it and things like that before you drop any seed.
Yep, exactly. Because they've already dropped their seed, and then you don't want to make it like into like a weird thing. So you just,
Do you have any fun stories of being out in the world as lesbian moms with your sons? Anything fun for us?
I think one thing that continually happens is I've dressed them like baby lesbians. So like, you know, flannels and Vans and snapbacks. And so even yesterday we're getting ready to leave. And my oldest, I've got them both dressed, and we were layering them because we were going to an outside thing and it was going to get warmer.
And you're lesbians, right?
And lesbians love layers.
So
we were
prepared
like,
for all weather.
Yeah. So we're getting dressed, and my son's on this like fixation now where like we're dressed the same is like his thing. He's like, we both have shoes on. I'm like, yeah. And like good connection there. Then he literally pulled a shirt out of the closet for me yesterday. And he's like, wear this so you can look like me and Van. And I was like, we're going to look like dorks, Remy. I cannot wear this. And he goes, no, put it on. And I'm going to call mom up here, and we're going to surprise her, and she's going to laugh. And I was like, okay. So even they are embracing lesbian culture.
Yeah. I came around the corner and they're like, look at our outfits. All little one, our oldest, and Caitlyn all wearing
a flannel.
I was like, no. I was like, take it off. We're gonna look like dorks.
I didn't wear it, but just long enough.
Just a couple of peppermint patties over here. Oh my God. Oh, I do want to ask, how did the TikTok, or where did you start? How did the account come about? How did this, I try and I don't go viral. So how'd you do it?
Our first video was from our Ring camera. We were home for a few weeks after Remy was born, our oldest. And we were like about to go on our first little walk as a family in the neighborhood. And I had to run back inside to grab like sunglasses or something I forgot, per usual. And she was getting her sunglasses out of the car. So we had the stroller out. Well, all of a sudden she's got her back to the stroller in the car, and the stroller just starts taking off down the driveway.
And we have a creek beside our driveway.
So thankfully she saw, I guess, in the peripheral, saw it moving and had to run it down and get it. And that was all captured on our Ring camera. So we showed it to friends and they were like, oh my God, you need to put this on TikTok. It's hilarious. So that's kind of how we got started. And then
we really didn't start. Well, I started it because that's like my type of thing. But I didn't start it thinking this was going to be a big thing. Like I was like, I've always edited videos and posted to YouTube and stuff like in high school. And it was never anything that blew up. And so I just thought like, oh, this will be a cool way to like capture some memories and stuff and have some fun and have, a few laughs. And it was all the same stuff we'd always done. I just now was recording it. And so we just kept posting, and then people would latch onto certain themes. And so like, there's like a whole series of her forgetting stuff, which is like an everyday thing.
I've seen some of those.
And people relate. And so my whole thing was, I just wanted to create an account that showed queer families and how normal and silly and goofy and loving and fun they can be. And just to create a space that was relatable and normalized.
Yeah. Yes. Preach. Yes. That is the whole point of all of this. And that's why I love interviewing folks like you who are like, you're being really visible for the world and helping really to normalize.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot
families.
of messages from people who were like, I was scared to come out. You give me hope that I can have a family. Like, I mean, and from all over the world, which is wild. It's just been, if anything, like, I feel like I've received equally as much out of it. And I hope that you have too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's been amazing.
It's important. It's important, right? We need to hear these stories because we don't have a platform, right? We need to see real families just being real families because they're not in the TV shows. They're not in the movies. It's very rare, right?
Yeah.
And we need to hear these stories because they're beautiful and they're different, but they're also just totally normal and real.
Yeah,
and fun, so I think it's really important. I want you to keep doing what you're doing. And I just want to thank you for that. And I'm so glad that I got to know you. Okay. Where can everybody find you so that they can all enjoy the laughter?
We're primarily on TikTok, but with the US being weird about TikTok, we're also on Instagram. But our handle it's the number 2, and there's periods in between each word, but it's 2 ladies and 2 babies. And then on YouTube, we also have 2 ladies and 2 babies, but there's no periods in between. So if TikTok gets banned, get us over there.
Get on over to YouTube. Everybody go follow them. And I have one final question, and I'm going to let you go. And you're part of my Pride Extravaganza. Did I tell you that?
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pride Extravaganza, double the episodes all June. And it's all amazing change makers like yourselves.
Awesome.
So I'm asking everybody in the Pride Extravaganza, you have to say it like that. This is a loaded question, so I'm sorry for throwing it on you at the last second. What does pride mean to you?
I think pride means standing in your own authenticity and embracing yourself and embracing everything around you with a positive mindset. It's just being completely open, raw, real, and bringing good into the world.
I love it. Well, and just a couple rainbows.
I can't say anything to top that.
Just say being gay.
Yay! Yay, gay!
I'm gay. Do you have a better answer?
I don't have a better answer. Are you kidding me? How do I top that? Ditto?
Listen, you just have to be Wanda, and we love you just for being Wanda.
I'm just here,
Sweet girl.
I love that, and I appreciate you immensely. This is like the lesbian episode.
I know. I like that for us.
Me too.
Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you on the TikTok.
See you there.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Queer Family Podcast. Whew. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, feel free to listen to another or watch another. I have so many episodes for your listening or viewing pleasure. Just go pick one and enjoy. There's a lot. There really is. And also, if you really do like this show, please, I know I say it all the time, but please do consider supporting the show on Patreon. You're just going to go to patreon.com/The Queer Family Podcast. You're going to pick a tier, you're going to join, and you're going to get that bonus content. And you're also going to get my love and adoration for the rest of my life. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Keep on tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.